Plant Talk is on the air, and today we have pinch hitting for Dave Deacock. It is Cass County Extension Agent Don Kinzler. Don, welcome back to the KFGO studio.
Oh, good afternoon. Thank you. Boy, it is hot. My pickup does not have air conditioning. So thank you for inviting me into the studio. It is air conditioned and lovely. Thank you.
I know that's one of the things we're going to touch on today is it's been hot and it's been dry,
Yes.
and so I see a lot of lawns that are looking pretty crispy. A lot of people saying we're just going to give up on some of the aspects of the garden, so this will be a great conversation to be able to say what is worth waiting it out.
Yes.
Well, and our own lawn is crisp and crunchy because we water the flowers, we water the vegetables. And so this time of year, I always like to look beyond what doesn't look so great and focus on something that is nice. And so I brought you guys each a sample of Trader Mulberry.
Yes.
And the reason I brought a spoon is because my thumbs and fingers are all bluish black, not because it's cold outside, but because they do stain your fingers when you're picking them. But now these are Trader Mulberry, Trader. And what do you think of those?
So good.
This is a delicious taste.
Aren't they nice? Trader Mulberry.
I was expecting something maybe a little more tart, but these are just delightfully sweet.
I think it's almost like a really delicious ripe blueberry, but with even a better texture than a blueberry, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, so they're delicious. Now, fully winter hardy. This Trader Mulberry, Trader, Trader Mulberry. What makes it fascinating is an old farmstead out in the Valley City, North Dakota area had this great big mulberry tree growing that had been brought to that farmstead by German immigrants 100 years ago. And all of a sudden people thought, wow, this has survived that long. The fruits are incredible. We need to propagate this. So a few years ago, they found a way to propagate more, and it is now in the nursery trade, limited. This year, there weren't many available, but check locally owned garden centers. We planted one about 9 years ago, and it will grow a great big, huge, bushy tree 35 feet tall. Okay, now we can't pick mulberries 35 feet tall, so we keep ours pruned. It does take yearly pruning to keep it at that. We keep it at about 12, 15 feet. And it bears fruit kind of all the way down towards the ground, a great big bushy type tree. And so the birds take what's way up above, out of reach. I take the rest. And it ripens its fruit over probably a 2-week period, so there's a lot left to ripen. So I just wanted to mention that for anyone looking, but it does require some size. It's big. But if you're looking for kind of a screening type tree that also produces fruit, Trader Mulberry. Again, limited supply this year. But check locally owned garden centers, get your name on the list for next year.
Yeah, something to keep your eye out for. And the fruit is delicious.
But fascinating, growing on an old farmstead up in the Valley City area brought by German immigrants 100 years ago.
So who figured out the propagation of the tree?
Because it does not produce seeds, doesn't produce viable seed, and just taking a snip off the branch and rooting it, well, that wasn't really possible. So, but through a combination of things like the cell type division, the propagation, test tube type propagation, and the right cuttings, or they found a way to propagate it.
Beautiful. And how long has yours been growing then?
When we moved the house 10 years ago, we brought this. It was a young tree at the time. So ours was about, I suppose, 9 years.
Okay.
9 years in place.
And how long does it take to start producing?
Probably 4 years. Yeah,
Okay.
4 years or so, 4 to 5 years.
Does it need is it like an apple tree where it needs those other trees around it?
No, it is a wonderful thing. Also, it's self-fruitful, so we only need one. And it's big enough, so you really only do need one. I made the mistake. And I always enjoy talking about gardening because I made every mistake there is. Okay, I made the mistake of planting this Trader Mulberry only 5 feet from the house. So I've got this great big thing that's capable of getting 30, 35 feet tall and great big wide, only 5 feet from the house.
Oh, no.
But now that requires me then to keep it pruned, but I can pick easier then.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the other things in our yards that are doing so well, again, I'm trying to focus on something that's not so hot and stressful and crummy looking as my lawn. Daylilies are in wonderful bloom. So nothing like show and tell on the radio. I brought you some daylilies. I love the names. There's a bright, vibrant orange one called Primal Scream.
Primal Scream.
Yeah, that's the one. The vivid.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and beautiful yellow one, big blossoms called Buttered Popcorn.
Beautiful.
Daylilies are blooming beautifully now. Roses, the Canadian winter hardy type roses that I don't need to cover. This one with the red and kind of white bicolor is called Never Alone. Good name. One called Morden Blush, Morden Sunrise. The point being, we can have some beautiful roses without doing any winter covering on them.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I just wanted to bring you guys a little bit of sample show and tell on the radio of things that can grow beautifully in our area, even during a hot, stressful summer.
So the mulberry tree, the Trader Mulberry, and can we go to just the fruit for just a moment? Because you do have to leave a little bit of the stem on.
There's a little green stem that does not pull off.
Yes, that does not pull off. So it's completely edible, and we can post pictures of this
we
as
eat
well.
broccoli stems. We eat broccoli stems, so why not the little green mulberry stem?
Right, exactly.
You don't really taste the stem.
No, you don't at all. Do you have to water this tree when it gets this dry?
I should. How's that for an answer?
Okay.
If I had a crystal ball and knew that we weren't going to have rain for I don't know how many weeks it's been in South Fargo since we had rain, I would have watered it a week or so ago.
Sure.
Maybe the fruits might have been a little bigger than they are now. So, again, I wished I would have watered a couple of weeks ago, but it's still bearing nicely.
Nice. We did decide to water a few of our trees a few weeks ago, just because they had been newly planted last year. And I'm not one to usually baby trees. They usually do just fine on their own. But it did feel like a year that maybe we should give them a little bit of love.
Exactly, because any tree really was planted within the last 5, maybe even 7 to 10 years. The great big, huge spreading shade trees, they're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Okay, but those that planted maybe 7 to 10 years or less, they're still kind of developing their root system. Those can really benefit. On the drive here, I noticed on some boulevards, some youngish type trees where the leaves are wilting. And of course, boy, that's a pretty serious sign of dryness.
Yeah.
And so to hydrate these trees, I like to use the soaker type hose, the black type hose where the water slowly oozes out of the surface. And it's important not just to open the water hose at the trunk of the tree, but to get the roots. If you take a tree and lay it on its side, the roots are going out at least that far, usually twice that far or more. So it's important, like with a soaker hose, to kind of spiral it out around under the canopy of the tree or the drip line and beyond, so that those feeder roots that are really thirsty are able to access moisture. So rather than just opening the hose right at the base of the trunk, to soak up the area under the canopy and beyond.
So you're saying, like, if I've got a 12-foot tall tree, that root system can be going out to 12 feet around.
Yep,
right?
And in some cases, it's 4 times the height of that tree.
Really?
So, it's amazing. We oftentimes picture a tree as, okay, you've got the upper part, and you picture it as the part below is a mirror image of that going all the way down. But that's not fact. Most of a tree's roots are in the upper 18 to 24 inches of soil, so they're going outward. The tree roots want to stay where there's plenty of good nutrition and where water's usually a little more, we water from above, rain comes from above, so the roots are going to stay in that area too. And so, so rather than soaking it deep around the trunk, it's important to get those roots where they are, which is, at least 1-2 times the height of that tree out. It's kind of fascinating, tree roots.
I also don't want to be that person, though, who overwaters, because you can damage the root system, right? And it kind of gets soggy and mushy
especially
on the roots.
On a young tree. A newly planted tree within the last year or so. My email inbox right now has a couple of issues where, because of the heat and the stress, they didn't want that tree to die on their watch, so they watered it every day. And, of course, then soil's soggy, the roots can't get oxygen, and so the leaves actually turn brown, and I believe they might have killed him.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
So you're right, JJ.
Okay, so if the leaves are curling on those trees, like you were mentioning, that maybe on the boulevard that were newly planted that are feeling pretty dry, is that like they're gone for sure, or you can still save them if you're seeing the leaves curl?
Yeah, the quicker you notice it and can get some water, some hydration into that tree, the better. One of our Japanese tree lilacs was looking like that, and so I got some water on it. It did perk up. But there's going to be a point of no return in which those leaves aren't going to just uncrisp and get good again. But hopefully there will be enough life in the tree so that it'll come back. But at a certain point, those leaves aren't going to just perk up, but hopefully the tree will hunker down and survive even that.
Plant Talk with Dave DeCock is on the air. Don Kinzler, Cass County Extension agent, with us today. Someone said in our text club, I won't try to grow grass again until fall. That might be a good idea, right, Don?
Oh, that's a perfect idea. Yeah. The best time of year actually to start new grass is the end of August or first part of September. The reason for that, why it's even better than springtime, is in the late summer, early fall, the soil has warmed beautifully, well, especially this year. So you have that big soil bank that's warm, and the temperatures typically cool down a little. So when you plant your grass seed, the soil warmth and provide the moisture, and it germinates beautifully. See, in the springtime, when you're coming off of winter, that big batch of soil is cold and chilly, and so it has to warm up till the grass seed sprouts. So it sprouts quicker in late August, early September. So it's actually the best time to start grass seed.
Perfect. Okay. How often should you water bare root trees that were planted in the last 2 months, someone asks?
Well, that is approximately the time that my wife Mary and I planted some bare root trees ourselves. And so I'm in there with you. What I do is once a week or maybe twice a week on those bare root trees is when I water them. And when I do water them, I give a good thorough soak, not just a little sip out of the garden hose, but a good thorough soak. And by that, I mean about 2 5-gallon pails of water on each. And so one way to kind of judge is to just scrape away a little bit of the topsoil. And if it's dark and moist underneath, then there's moisture there, so we don't need to water. But if it looks like it's starting to dry a little, roots need oxygen, so it needs to dry a little in between to pull oxygen down into the root system. So mine, South Fargo, it's been dry, hot, of course, and so I'm doing mine once a week or at most maybe twice a week. And our extension forester, then that's his recommendation too. Don't kill them by babying them with daily watering.
Sure. Good tips. Plant Talk is on the air with Cass County Extension Agent Don Kinzler, sitting in for Dave DeCock today. Let's get to the phone lines. Jonathan has called in. Hello, Jonathan. You're on with Don Kinzler.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. Say, I've got, you mentioned grass earlier and planting in the fall. I've got about a 1-acre spot on my lot that was very rough, and I got 3 black dirt fill from a construction site because they needed to remove it. And I got it prepared, and everything was great, and I seeded my grass last fall. What I did not know was I have way more crabgrass seed than I have black dirt, it seems like. I've got a gorgeous stand that's grass green. It's solid crabgrass, and I figured this out because it's starting to go to seed.
Yeah.
So my plan of attack is I'd really like to get it reseeded this fall. Trifluralin is, the old Treflan is a product that supposedly will kill the seed. It kills the germ in the seed before it sprouts in the spring. What I'm thinking is, could I use both Roundup and Trifluralin applied now, kill the green grass, kill the seed in the ground, and in a perfect world, I'd be able to kill everything off and then seed grass, say around September 10th. What's your thoughts on that idea?
Well, the first thing would be to determine kind of what the weedy grass is. And oftentimes we'll use that term crabgrass for kind of these weedy type grasses. There's a number of different types of weedy grasses that it could be. If it's going to seed now at kind of a lower level, it's probably not quackgrass. Quackgrass, of course, grows from those underground kind of whitish, tannish rhizomes, and that goes to seed at a taller level. So if you're seeing seed now, it could be a number of different weedy type grasses, maybe not technically crabgrass, although it could be also. And so when I give my email address, I'd sure like to see a picture of that. We can kind of help you identify exactly. And now, the Roundup, which the active ingredient in old Roundup was glyphosate. So sometimes when we kind of mention the term Roundup, many people are thinking of the old Roundup, the glyphosate, and that would kill off everything, all of those weedy type grasses. That would kill that off. And of course, as you mentioned, that would not take care of the seed that those weedy grasses are producing. And so now Treflan or trifluralin is, as you described, a pre-emergent. It kills weed seed as it's just starting to sprout. And so, but that a person would need to check the label. That could also prevent your good grass seed from sprouting. And so sometimes trying to control the weedy type grasses and planting new grass can be two opposite things that work against each other. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to give my email address. If you could send me a photo of kind of that area, we'll identify what those weedy grasses are and kind of plan the approach from that. But if you follow me, sometimes putting on that pre-emergent could also prevent your good grass seed from emerging. There are a couple of products, very specific products that are used to control crabgrass that will allow good grass to grow through. So it's kind of a matter of really looking at the label for the right pre-emergent that would allow that.
Okay, someone else asks, is it okay to use water from dehumidifier to water plants?
Yeah, that's an interesting question that I did a little research a few years ago. And generally that water coming out of the air into a dehumidifier is great for plants. It's kind of good fresh water. The only concern ever was that some of the inner parts of a dehumidifier are metal, and maybe there would be a little bit of water coming off the metal. And so it wasn't suggested that it be used on edibles, but definitely houseplants and anything else. I guess you never know exactly how that water is coming off the innards of a dehumidifier and what heavy metals or plastic residue or something might be in. But for houseplants, ideal.
Yeah, great. Good point. Someone said best stuff to get rid of spurge and rocks and keep it from coming back.
Spurge and rocks. I wonder if they're mentioning the actual leafy spurge, kind of the pasture type, or maybe it's another type of something in rocks. And so a person could use a broadleaf type herbicide, such as Ortho Weed Be Gone, on anything that's a broadleaf, non-grassy type weed, and just spot treat those. That should work. Okay. And, of course, hand pulling is still a legitimate way, too. Sometimes we don't have, if something is growing right next to a good plant, sometimes we have no other choice than to dig out the bad thing you don't want.
When you're dealing with something like a broadleaf plant that's in rocks, right? So if I spray it, it shrivels up, it looks like it's dead. Is there still any root structure or anything like that could come back? I mean, should I still be pulling even if I've shriveled up those weeds?
Well, if a person applies a good broadleaf herbicide, that should be translocated down into the root system enough to kill that root also. And it's important, though, if that weed is going to seed or starting to go to seed, to pull that plant out and dispose of it before those weeds would shatter. Because a person could conceivably spray a weed, kill the weed, but if it's got viable seed, those seeds are going to drop and then it'll start popping up from little seedlings again, either this year or next. So if anything is going to seed, definitely it's a good idea to pull it out.
I've also seen, and I've seen it successfully several times, but I'm not recommending it for everybody, those like blowtorch things are a great way, especially like if you're talking about just a big rock garden and just like going over it, because that would destroy the seed as well.
Yes, exactly. And if it's an annual type weed that doesn't have a root system that would come back, then frying those, that used to be used a lot, cracks in sidewalks and things. You know, the kind of the blowtorch on a stick.
Yeah, chain link with fences, I think, is where I saw it used the most.
That was a legitimate way of getting rid of some of these weeds.
And I know some of the big box stores, you can still buy the
the
wand and everything. Yeah, I do have one. I've got one from the lake, though. The problem is that the way we've done all of our landscaping, I don't have anywhere to use it, right? Yeah. Because I don't want to burn away one of my hostas.
I mean, it would be a scary time to use it right now.
Yeah, do not.
Do not. Why is an established 50-plus-year-old elm shedding short, dead twigs, this message says? The tree is basically healthy looking except for areas of dead twigs. Don, what do you think?
Oh, sometimes squirrels will do that. Squirrels working up in a tree will sometimes nibble. They need to kind of sharpen their teeth. So one way to do that is to nibble on twigs to sharpen their teeth. Or sometimes they're getting a little bit of nutrition from that. So that is one thing that, little twigs dropping. Also, sometimes there will be scale insects that don't harm the big old elm tree that much. But sometimes scale insects will cause little twiglets to die, and then they'll eventually drop off. And usually it's not a sign that the tree is going to die, as long as you aren't having big branches that are turning brown and having problems. But yeah, that is always interesting. But I always suspect squirrels when I see little twigs, little bunches of leaves dropping down.
Someone says, my neighbor's tomatoes are turning red and mine are still green. Is he adding food coloring to his water?
That's an interesting concept, too. Okay, you would think that with as much heat as we've had, wouldn't tomatoes really be ripening? But when our temperatures get above 85 or 90, tomato ripening actually can pause a little bit because even heat-loving plants like tomatoes can slow growth a little bit, and fruit ripening is a growth process. So when it gets too much into the 90s and hot at night, the tomato ripening can actually shorten a little bit. Not shorten, it can take longer for a tomato fruit to ripen. I've noticed that in our own garden. The cherry tomatoes are ripening well, but the slicing type have paused a little bit. They're waiting for a little cooler temperatures.
Interesting. Someone said, are autumn blaze maples known for being yellow all summer?
Oh, yes. You can, as you drive up and down our streets, you can pick autumn blaze maples a mile away because they're usually golden yellow color. They don't like our heavy clay soil, and they respond to that by turning yellow because of an iron deficiency. They're very susceptible to that. And so visit the locally owned garden centers. They'll know exactly what you need, an iron product, and follow the label directions to green that up. And the quicker that you can get that iron product applied in the younger age of a tree, the better. Maple trees can die from iron deficiency chlorosis.
Yeah, we lost one in our backyard to it. Tried to save it, but they're a hard go here. It feels
Autumn blaze maple is one of the most frequently asked questions that I get.
I bet.
And blossom end rot on tomatoes.
Plant Talk with Dave DeCock, Don Kinzler, Cass County Extension Agent, sitting in for us today. Don, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. And let's hope it's raining outside. Is it raining outside?
Yes,
it's raining.
It is.
It's raining. It is raining.
Good. See, my open windows did the trick.
You got wet seats on the way home, Don.
Oh, hallelujah.
Plant Talk today has been brought to you by Thompson Greenery, Strand, Ace Hardware, Buffalo River Sales, Chisholm Trail Farm, The Garden of Healing, and Jean's The Right Plant Place.